I have this dream where I'm lying in an open field, staring at the sky. It's clear blue, no clouds. The sun is on me, but not in my eyes or anything, and it feels really nice. I couldn't find a comfortable position in my lunotube, though, and I was about a far cry from falling asleep, let alone having that one dream. I shifted my weight to the right laboriously and sighed. It was more comfortable there, but now something was catching my eye. I squinted upward, out of the glass chamber. Some dickbrain had left the slide port open, and I could see something glimmering out there in the spotted darkness. I tried covering my eyes with my hands, but it wasn't comfortable. And I tried rolling over, but I could still see that glaring light for some reason. It was like it was getting brighter, lighting up the whole room. Finally, I reached up, pressed the red touchpad surface, and lifted myself out of the lunotube with a silent grunt, sliding the hatch to the side. I was wearing my white long johns and socks, and the floor was slippery as I trudged over to the slide port. Shielding my eyes a bit to the light, I peered out into space. Was it a star? What star would be close to way the hell out here on the vector fringe? The light grew exponentially bigger. A sudden tingling sensation shot through my body as I realized what was happening. The next part was surreal. Felt like 20 or 30 minutes, but I know that can't be right. All I could do was watch. I felt frozen. I remembered each little detail as it happened. The whole hull of the ship shook as the room wrenched into a V shape. I saw the space troll's battle ram pummel into the side of our barge with such force that it cracked the hull. Red lights started flashing, people's lunotubes opened up in unison, sirens began screaming. As the room bent, Gravlock disengaged, and I had to hold on to the side railing for stabilization. Groggy privates floated across the chamber in a half-awake confusion. From the front of the room, Sergeant Prockley burst in, the auto door sliding open at an almost comically slow speed compared to the ensuing chaos. Prockley had nothing but his boxers, battle harness, and eye tag on. His normal, well-combed hair was in a frazzled mess. He started barking something at me as I was the closest private to him, but I couldn't focus on what he was saying, though, because through another open slide port behind him, I could see the troll battle cruiser circling back for another hit. I don't know why I didn't point or try to warn him or anything. Without even thinking, I smashed the closed door button on the wall near the auto door. Sergeant Prockley looked angrily confused for a moment, then the clear plastomite door slid shut, followed by another blood-curdling crash. I watched through the auto door, dumbfounded, as the hull outside our private's quarter was breached, the walls of the passage torn open, and everything that wasn't bolted down sucked out into the harsh vacuum of space. The last I saw of Sergeant Prockley was his head exploding in a pressurized burst of gore. The severity of the situation began to thaw into my shock, and I swiveled around, starting to assess what I saw before me. More and more people were waking up and panicking, looking out the ports and hurriedly suiting up. I looked down at my long johns, then back up, feeling more determined, and I pulled myself closer to the railing and pushed off hard, shoving myself back toward my lunotube and my locker. I floated hastily over, caught myself on the lunotube's manual hatch lever. Suddenly, I thought of Null. I spun around towards his tube and probably would have laughed out loud in any other situation. Null was still asleep, earplugs in, sleeping mask on, floating crazily half in, half out of his lunotube, his breather still attached to his face. Quickly, I threw open my locker, grabbed the suit pack, exoskin, and helmet, then braced my legs against the locker door and pushed off toward Null's tube. The sirens were still wailing, and someone was yelling behind me. Midway across the room, I collided with another private. He had his whole battlesuit on save his helmet, which was knocked out of his hands as we hit each other. I shoved off from him and got myself back on trajectory. He cursed and flailed about as he tried to follow his helmet. At Null's Luno, I stuffed all my things under one arm and used the other to rip off his breather and sleep mask. He blinked and scrutinized me, then gave me the finger and closed his eyes again. I dug an earbud out, Get up, Null! Everything's gone to shit! What? Dude, turn off your alarm clock. Just give me a couple more minutes. I didn't have time for this. Fully suited privates were beginning to form up near the auto door. I opened his locker, fished out a synaptotase I knew he had. I turned it to the lowest setting and muttered, "Sorry about this, man." Yow! Null shut up and grabbed around awkwardly as he realized we were in zero grav. "What'd you do that for?" he asked angrily. I stuttered, like, under attack, Null." "What?" Suddenly, someone slid behind me and grabbed my shoulder. I spun around and recognized Tamanique. She had her whole battlesuit on, but the visor up. "Onten," she grunted, "suit up." I nodded and began to slip on my exoskin. The rubbery black material formed a sort of onesie, and it slid on nicely. I shoved Null his pack after grabbing it from his locker. He had been looking out the window and now looked pale. "Oh shit," he said softly. Then he started suiting up along with me. You could hear heavy explosions from outside and see blinding flashes of light from the slide port windows. I got on my harness, attached the bulky breastplate, shin guards, codpiece. My armor never quite fit me right, and I usually hated putting it on. I wasn't even thinking about that now. Just got to get it sealed. The last piece clicked into place. I attached the helmet and pulled the visor down, the HUD booting up. Null had done the same. I looked at Tamanique, was over by the others, arguing emphatically next to the auto door. Suddenly, I realized how stupid I was being, and almost smacked my armored forehead. I flew over to my locker again and reached in for my laser pistol. Nervously, I locked a power cell into place and turned the dial. The display popped up saying, "Powering up," followed by a 3% symbol. "You gotta be shitting me," I muttered. I was about to slam my hand into the side in hopes to get the dusty old thing to load faster when I heard a loud thunk. I flinched and turned around to face the noise, horrified. Then I saw it was just Null, his boots making a loud clunk as he turned on the grav lock, sticking him to the floor. "This is some crazy shit, dude," he said. I sighed in slight relief. "Whew, yeah, you scared me for a second. I thought you were a..." "Troll!" came a blood-curdling cry from the front of the chamber. Suddenly, a big, brutish fist came bursting through the plastamite door. As the thing pulled back, it wrenched the entire door off its hinges, breaching the chamber. My suit made a whooshing sound, and my ears popped, a blue indicator coming up on my HUD that read, "Vacuum seal, success. Air remaining, approx 9 minutes. I didn't have time to read it all, though, as the alien creature threw itself into the floating wreckage of a room with us. It stood about 8 feet tall, naked, with oozing green skin. Its face was all pointy teeth and massive jaws, a single eye peering at us hatefully behind a clear, fleshy membrane. The troll had a long metal club-like weapon with sharp metal fragments attached to the end. It was very much at home in the gravityless vacuum of space, too, as it had strange organs protruding from its sides and back that released puffs of some greenish gas in order to propel the troll in a particular direction. Before any of the privates had time to react, the troll swung his club into the nearest soldier, cracking his battlesuit wide open. The poor bastard's body exploded beneath what remained of his armor, his visor smeared with dark red blood. Another private charged up toward the monster, brandishing her laser pistol in front of her. Before she could fire, the troll swung his arm broadly across her side, knocking her into the ceiling. She fired in response, but it was too late, her laser shooting off target into the hull of the ship and searing a hole straight through it. The troll's gaze suddenly seemed to land on me. Green gases spouted from its back, propelling it toward me, its makeshift maul raised in the air. I quickly looked around. Nothing to push off from. I raised my laser pistol and jammed the trigger, but nothing happened. "Powering up, 41%, it said. The troll was feet away, its hulking body seemingly the size of a house. Shit! I shut my eyes. I briefly thought about that dream with the wide-open field. It's been a pretty nice life, I guess. Maybe when you die, you get to go to someplace nice like that. I don't know why I thought of that, though. I wasn't feeling anything. Was I dead? I opened my eyes to find the visor half covered in green ooze. Through the clear portions, I could see someone firing relentlessly into the troll, its bile-like blood spurting everywhere. I hit the wipers and uncurled myself from the fetal position. I was alive. I looked at the soldier firing into the beast. It was Tamanique, blasting away with her laser pistol. A rush of gratitude and relief floated over me. The troll was thrashing around ferociously, however, and one of its long limbs whipped into Tamanique, sending her careening out through the broken doorway and into open space. "No!" I shouted, angry, blinking back sweat or maybe even tears out of my eyes. The others were gone, either evac'd or dead, except for Null, who was trying to load up his own laser pistol. The troll turned on me. This was it. No one to help me now. I steeled myself. The first swing cracked my visor, but didn't break it, thank God. The HUD stuttered and went out. The next swing I was more ready for. I pushed off from the floor right at the last moment and went sailing across the room. The troll was quick, however, and he caught me again with a solid backswing. It was just toying with me now, having a little fun before it went in for the brutal kill. Its latest blow had sent me flying off in Null's direction, and I ended up crashing into him, dazed. His laser pistol was knocked out towards the back of the room, but we didn't budge. Null was gripping my harness, his feet still grav-locked to the floor. Wait, that was it! "Hold me steady," I yelled over the comm, which thankfully still worked. "Oh man," he was muttering, "oh man." The bleeding but still threatening troll came toward us slowly, charging up a powerful blow with its club. Its metal club. With Null holding my harness, I lifted my leg and reached for the switch near my boot. I took a deep breath and switched it to attract. Right as the troll leveled his weapon, I raised my foot harshly and aimed it toward the end piece. The metal weapon was torn from the troll's slimy hands and attached solidly to the bottom of my Magnograv boot heel. With no time for doubts, I aimed my leg like a cannon at the troll's head and quickly switched the boot from attract to repel. If trolls' faces could show emotion, this one's, at the moment it realized what was happening, would have been priceless. The spiked maul was shot with breathtaking speed into the troll's skull, breaking through to the other side in a fountain of green ooze. Null stared at me in shock for a moment before his laughter crackled through the comm. "Holy shit, Onten! That was awesome!" I smiled briefly, but then remembered where I was. "Come on," I said, leading him toward the gaping maw of the chamber that faced open space. We passed the troll's floating corpse, and suddenly I heard a small ding. I looked down. My laser pistol was done charging. Great. We got to the edge and looked out at the scene before us. A massive debris field surrounded our barge, which wasn't in good shape itself. The entire hull was almost split in half, pieces and equipment and bodies floating all around. The troll transport cruisers were flitting about, dropping waves of the things as they went. Bright exchanges of laser fire and troll ecto-rays lit up the carnage with extraordinary red and green streaks. Some jetpack EVA troops were flying from debris to debris, attempting to counter the enemy maneuvers. We were hopelessly outnumbered, though, with more space trolls arriving by the minute. There wasn't much time. "Shit," wondered Null. What do we do now?" I thought for a moment, looking down. The stern looks like it hasn't been beaten up too bad. Maybe there are still some EPODs that work. Right. Cool. But first, I said, turning towards the battlefield before us, we gotta find Tamanique.